Hello and welcome. Join me as we take a look at two Ninjago Chase magazines. Now what I mean by that is they include the tins, which is this one just here and this one just here. Now I know some of you are really struggling to get your hands on these tins, so that is now my second and third tin that I've managed to find. So what we'll do as normal is we're going to go through the magazine super quickly, then we're going to take a really good look at the tins, all the artwork and then the minifigures themselves. So what we'll do to start with is do a direct comparison of both front covers, and the main thing is actually the price. So the newer one on the left hand side is issue number 61. This is the one that I only found this morning, and that is £6.99. The older one on the right hand side is actually issue number 25, but that was actually £7.99. But if you're from Australia, I'm afraid it's always you're getting the shaft because it is £11.99 for each. Now the nice thing is that both these minifigures look like they're from the same team. They are fighting the same series villains as well. So that means that if you manage to get the first tin, which had Lloyd on the front of it, it means hopefully we'll all be able to complete a full squad. So the plan of attack is I'm going to go through the magazines individually very quickly. Then obviously we'll get to the good stuff, which will be having a look at the minifigures themselves, and I will try and get the other minifigure as well. So we'll start off with the slightly older one, which is the £7.99 one, which is this one just here. So I will plonk that one down to the side. So what we're going to need to do first is always the hard bit, is can I rip this off without destroying absolutely everything? And I think I have done all right with that. So we'll have a better look at the tin and all the other little bits and pieces at a later date. Now if somebody has already stolen the tin, that is what that's going to look like. So we'll have epic tin, collectible tin on the front. Now if I don't get that bit of sellotape off, we'll see what it does. I was going to say it's just going to stick to the front cover and rip it, but then at the same time I don't really care. So you can see you've got all sorts of different bits and pieces coming. This one doesn't have a huge amount of pages, so it's not going to take too long to go through. It does say you get 3 amazing gifts as well, so I'm guessing we're going to get a really, well it does say there, a really nice poster which we'll be having a quick look at. So start, you've got the Lego City Know Your Limits on the left hand side. That has got the vehicle emergency on this one, stunts and the custom car garage, so you can see how older this magazine is, even though it's actually relatively new to me. And then you can see it's got the box and all the bits and pieces. You've got trading posters for part number 5, and then the training plan, which I always do like the look of on these Ninjago magazines. That is actually the content of what is to come on there. So you've got all these little bits and pieces. So that is page 3. Straight into page 4, you've got the comic, so it's a volcano adventure. Page 4 into page 5. That carries on 7, so you can see the little bits and pieces that are going just on there. Nice bits of artwork on here, and then you've got all the really nice vibrant colours on that side. Does look like you then got a little bit of colouring in if you want to do some colouring in for yourselves as well. So that's always a nice touch and a nice thing to see. And then past the Ninja School, I think that is carrying on with the same comic, I think. So it just splits it up with a little bit of colour and it just carries on. So it's one big story. So that's 10, page 11, moving on 12, 13. This is a huge story. 14, 15, and then 16 you got a nice poster. That is the big poster on the inside just there, so that'll obviously look really nice depending on where it is you would actually like to place it. And then I think on the other side it's just the back of the other poster, which is, as a better look, that thing just there. I am far too lazy to actually rip it out, but it does look nice, and it is the story of the new villains, so that is what this is all about. You have then got a little bit of a mission for you to play with, so you can see that you've got all the different sort of blades and arrows on there, and you've got to trace them through, so that's always a good little bit of fun on page number 21. And then you've got a Bond blade race on this one. So you've got home, start home, and you've got all the little different bits and pieces that you can do on that one. And then moving over, we've got so many cold faces on the left hand side, and then you've got the super villain and the Bone Knight on the right hand side, which is obviously these two just here. So this is what this is all about. So that is part number 22. You've got some equipment bits and pieces on the left, and then you've got Masters of Dragons on the right hand side. The orange looks really smart on that. I think it's got some nice little bits and pieces going for it. And carrying on to the next page, like I said, this is just a very, as you can try and turn the page, very quick look, because you've got 2 to look through. You've got the Masters of the Elements, so that's a nice thing, because all of these characters that we would have been introduced in the TV show at some point, so they do look very smart, as do all of these. So some of these characters I actually have already got. So Jacob, for example, he is in the latest Element Tournament Master from the actual Legacy line. I think that set is still available. It might be retiring this Christmas. So if you do like the looks of some of these minifigures or characters here and you want to get yourself some of the minifigures, then it might be worth trying to hunt down some of the legacy Ninjago sets before they all get discontinued and retired. Looks like you've just got a training mission up at the top. It says the ambush and it says be ninja in the top corner just on there. Moving through, you have then got some more games. Obviously it needs to be spun around that way for that, so you can see you've got that at the top and then you've got that one at the bottom, and then that is the last page. Now it did give you a clue that it said it's one thing about these Lego magazines I'm not 100% sure, and it says next time. I'm guessing that's supposed to be Jay versus the Bone Hunter, which is the one that I have next. That is that. But it says it's coming soon. I'm getting that anxious with it. I'm pushing the table too hard, which you're just balancing on a table. But if we go back to the issue, there's been loads of magazines, obviously, since issue number 25. So I don't know. I'm assuming that each issue number relates to the Ninjago magazine rather than all the different magazines. However, it does take us very nicely into this, because apparently if this is the next magazine, that will be the one that we'll be looking at. So let's have a quick look at this one. Hopefully this one gets taken off easy enough and we can do a half decent job with this. One thing about these magazines, the ink seems to come up on my fingers all the time, so looks like I've got really dirty hands, but I don't. So that, again, lots of bits and pieces in that tin, lots of bits and pieces in that tin. We'll take a good look at both of those, but you can see you've got the characters on the side. So if you do collect these bits and pieces, they will look quite nice as a collection together. Now, again, we're stuck to the table, but I can't be bothered to try and rip it off. So, plays your superpower. Now, this is the new bits and pieces that have actually just come out on all the adverts, and they're doing all these sort of bits and pieces on YouTube adverts at the moment. So, even though this was supposed to be the next magazine, they are really far ahead within their marketing packages. So that's always a nice one. You have got Jay versus the Bone Hunter on that. Again, we know training plan. This magazine feels about the same thickness. So we've got, starting again, Rise of the Bone King. So I'm potentially it might be the same layout. I was about to say it's going to be the same layout, and it's not. You're 2 pages in, and then you go back to another colouring school, and then you've got the 3 bits on that side. So this one does look nice. These are all of the bone collectors as such that are in, I can't remember what series this is actually linking to, but I know there was a lot of glow-in-the-dark elements, and they did release some really nice glow-in-the-dark sets as well. So never got my excuse me, there we go. Never got my hands on them, but at the same time, I do like the fact that I can get these minifigures, so I'm happy with that. Now carrying on with the magazine, page 8 and 9 for the comic, 10 and 11 for the comic as well. So you've got all the bits and pieces going on with the story up on this bit, and then it carries on, and obviously Zane's coming in to say hello. So I'm assuming that you are going to get a tin for all of these. It is quite a good series actually, this one, so it does look quite smart having it in this magazine as well. As you can see, you've got all the bright pinks, you've got the really nice greens and everything coming through on that. And then I'll just say the end, so that is the end on that one on page 16. So it's a little bit shorter on this one. Big poster. So you've got that thing that does look nice, and then you've got the team again, which is top and bottom for that one. So if we go back to the front, it is those two just there. So they're easy enough without me having to rip it out. Because last time I tried to rip it out, I ripped the attachment bits in and the whole magazine fell apart. So not the smoothest of transactions, that one. But you got another mission on this one, so you can see just how different each mission is to do and have a play with. So again, that's nice to keep everybody entertained. You've got pupil versus master, start to finish, figure that one out for yourself. Remember, this is current at the moment, so you can pick yourself this one up. So that is your game. And then you've got ambush in the cave, which is another big mission. So that goes on page 24 and on page 25. So there's a lot going on that one. And then on to page 26, you've got another Hot for Ice, so that's another Zen game. So you've got all these different bits and pieces up at the top, and then you've got all that going round. And then you've got the return of the, I can't actually see because of the light, return of something. You can read it, but I probably can't. I've got a light shining on the magazine on that one. So that is from the Book of Heroes series 10. So there we go. So after the ninja defeated Garmadon in TV series 9, spoiler, evil was conquered, so they thought, but now even darker forces. There we go. Victory. Manic Munchies, so that's carrying on with that story. Page 29, nice little bit of popcorn at the bottom, and then you've got the little burger just there, all the pizzas, hot dogs, and that is another mission. So I'm guessing you've got to try and do a crossword, word search, or whatever you want to call it, up in that one. Rising Dragon, and then mission, and then you've got a survey. So you can take part and win. So on this one, you've got a choice of potentially, I'm guessing, winning 2 Chimex and 1 Zane Ice Dragon. So you can fill all that out and send it away if you want to. Now this looks very interesting to me because this minifigure just here is extremely, extremely valuable. Now if they are going to be giving this away, it says the next edition, let's be honest, it is going to be a little while. But if that's going to be in another tin, that would be interesting, but I don't think it's the same villain. So I think now they're just doing something completely different, and then the next tin potentially will come out at some point. But they just say that is coming soon, but Pixel is very, very difficult to get hold of. So looking forward to get my hands on her because she's in some very, very expensive sets, and I do not want to try and backtrack the whole set just for her as a minifigure. Now we are going to move on to the actual minifigures themselves. So it's finally time to get on to the main event, and I think we're going to start with this one. So this should make things nice and interesting because I can't remember how you're actually supposed to open these. I know there's a little bit of tape on them somewhere. That's what got me last time. So you've got a little bit of sellotape on the back. He says as it's easy enough, he says, to rip off, and then this is obviously to stop people trying to steal them in the shops. I'm not cutting this out. My nails are strong enough, but this is how strong the sellotape is. It's ridiculous the stuff that they use on these. Come on. So there we go. Right, so big bit of tape. Right, so it is a big slide box. So that was the worst transaction you're going to see, and we've got another one still to go. So this is the artwork. Actually, we'll check the box out first. It does look really, really nice. You can see it is all raised in the tin as well. So again, if you're a collector of these, it will be worth you trying to head down to your local shop tomorrow and pick one of these up. Now the nice thing that they've got on here is you have this on the side, and then you've got that on the front. So you can see it's versus, and then you got that logo on there. Now if we compare it to Lloyd's tin, you have that on that side. So again, you can see how these would look nice now together, and you've got the red with the silver on those two. So they are slightly different eyes. On that side, you've then got the green versus obviously that, so it's the symbols from each one. And then over there, you've got the pictures of the ninja. And then it says the legacy box. Now, it's red and green for Lloyd's, but this one looks really nice because it is almost, in fact, there's 3 colours on there. So you've got the blue going into the green, into the yellow, and it does look very, very good. And it looks like they've got all the crack effect just up on there. And then you've got the limited edition tin box on the back, and it's supposed to be a 6+. Now, if we slide and glide it out, that is the contents. So shall we see if we can put these minifigures together nice and quickly? I'm sure we can do. So the print, actually we'll do it bit by bit. So you can see the leg print looks really, really clean on this one. It's got really, really nice markings all across the bottom. You've got the belt, you've then got all of the yellow, and it's got the 2-tone arms as well. So it is the same as, I think it's the same as Lloyd, because I think he has a slightly darker arm on the one, and I know Cole on the box artwork also has the black and the orange. I will try and find Lloyd at the end, but I've got a funny feeling he's been thrown in my display somewhere. As he says that out loud, I have just found the villain from Lloyd himself, which means Lloyd must be somewhere. So he shall be found, hopefully sooner rather than later, or he's been lost. So one or the other. Now, staying on topic, which one do we need to put on next? So that looks, that's for him. So face, you've got the grumpy, and then you've got the sort of frightful one. This really nice print on the back. You can see all the nice yellow, and you've got the little creases across the very, very bottom on both sides, and then you've got that sort of really nice logo and symbol. So I do like the 2-tone arms. I think some people were put off by them, but I quite like that. And I haven't seen, or I didn't actually realise that this one was sort of like a yellowy custard, because it's not like a bright yellow. So if you go by the minifigure's head, that is a yellow. I would say that is more of a custard yellow. To be honest, it's still yellow, but you know what I mean. And then there he goes on with his noggin, just like that. The eyes slightly different on these two. So you've got the frowning. He looks more aggressive like that, doesn't he? So we'll have that one like he's meaning business. And then up on here, he can have the blue holding that, and then that is the first one done. So I think that one looks really, really smart, to be honest. Now we will go straight in to this one. We'll just move him to the back. So just remember, this is the villain from this one. Lloyd is not available at the moment. I will have to run and find him. If not, just hunt down the other video. Now what these figures have is amazing amount of artwork on the front. The print on these things are ridiculous. The shine on this. But don't forget, this is a magazine that has just cost there or thereabouts the same price as 2 CMF minifigures, and then obviously you've got the magazine on top plus a tin. You have got really nice bits and pieces going on the front there. You've got the green. Now I'm not 100% sure if these do glow in the dark, so I am just doing a bit of a test. It looks to me like his hands might, but it doesn't state that it does. But it just looks like it has that kind of glow in the dark eyes on. So right at the very end of the video, we'll test it. And I'll just turn the lights off. And if it doesn't glow in the dark, then it'll be an absolute epic fail. If it does, then we are living the dream. So we have got, well, we've missed that for a start. We're not doing too well, are we? So his shoulder pad needs to go over there. Get that on. Let's get him dressed. There we go. Come on. Shoulder pad. That's him. So shoulder pad on the side, and then he's got his little pack on the back just there, which I think actually is more helpful because I can just put his sword in there instead, so he doesn't actually have to hold it, which means I can have him in different displays and it could just sit in there. So there we go. That was worth doing. So that will now just sit in there. It looks nice from the back. You can get some nice photos, and it'll be interesting to see how this one compares to the other one. So with this one, you have got, well, look at that headpiece first, just down at the bottom. I doubt that's going to glow in the dark, but the hands will do. Now that doesn't go on first. The bit I had in my hand goes on first. I'm doing a very good job at this. So that goes there. That one goes there. Big hat goes on like so. And then we have a bone. There you have some really weird and wonderful weapons. A bone with that piece on. And then they hold it like so, he says. There you go. So that is what that one looks like. So that is your hero on the, well, you can pick and choose which is your hero and which is your villain, but they are going to look really nice in my Ninjago City display, and they will look nice just dotted around all over the place. So they do look very, very smart indeed. Now what we will do is we'll rotate that box for that box, and we'll get these two minifigures out of the way so it doesn't get too confusing for the camera because we've got too much stuff to focus on. Now this is the second attempt. I'm bracing myself for this. Can I open this one up without making an absolute meal out of it? So the sellotape's on the same sides. There we go. So the sellotape is not as vicious on this one. That was much easier. So again, start off with all of the raised bits and pieces on the tin, so that all sticks out as it does all across the top. And you've got the nice Ninjago legacy, and then you've got all of those bits. So again, if you're into that kind of thing, so we'll come actually. We will compare all of them. Might as well. We'll put the new one on top. So there we go. So we'll compare the sides of all three. So that's what they look like together. Might as well do it all in one hit. So the big difference between these, actually, now looking at it like this, is you've just got the green and red, but you've got the two cracks that match. But this one doesn't have a crack, but Cole does. They seem to be adding more and more cracks as they go through. I don't know if that's just an Easter egg or if they just thought it looks better. I prefer the cracks actually compared to the plain colours. But bearing in mind, Lloyd is wearing the same outfit and he is fighting the same people, so it is from the same series. That's what those three look together. And then you've got the different legacy box artwork. So which one do you think looks better? You can see that they all shine really nicely. The orange and red looks nice. The multicoloured font, I think, works really nicely as well. But nice and simple. And then each one of those is slightly different. You can see the nose, the cheeks, the creases. It's just the eye pattern is different, isn't it? So that is the one that we are looking at the moment. That will go there, that one will go there. So we'll open this straight up and we'll see what is involved. If there's anything in it whatsoever. Yes, there is. Lots and lots of pieces in this one. So this is going to be good fun to try and plonk all this together. So again, we'll start off with the leg printing. Leg printing looks nice and strong on this one. You have got a nice orange against the tan, and you've got the silver going across the top of the legs. Then this one is a half and half jet black with the really nice bright vibrant orange, and this one's got a little bit of white across the front. You can just see how the belt and everything works. Before I put his pad on, we'll have a quick look at the back as well, so you can see you've got the white logo and then you've got the orange, so it is exactly the same as the other one. This one does have dual faces, so I won't plonk his head on, but you can see what that one looks like for there. And then we've got the more aggressive look, so they seem to be using the aggressive eyebrows for all of these. Now, as long as I'm not being stupid, I will put this one on straight away, like so. So that's where the sword will go. We'll put his aggressive face on rather than his smug face, and then that is what that looks like. That is then what that looks like. So that is looking nice and smart. And then he has the really bright vibrant orange sword as well, so that will go straight through onto like so, and that is him done and done. So it seems to be, actually looking at the trousers, obviously with this one you have got the much lighter into the darker. That's something I didn't really notice, but with Cole it sticks out a lot more because you've got the brown going into the much darker colour. So we'll have a quick comparison of those two directly side by side, and like I said, I really will try and find Lloyd as well, so we can have a quick look at all three, says you're actually hunting down the opposite video. Lots of nice detail on this one. Again, this one's very much more chain base again, just like the other one was. Now I think this one has a much bigger shoulder pads, so on the back that is more chains. Across the back you've got the red with the sort of tie across the back on there. That then goes on to the back just there. What that is supposed to be we will figure out in a second. There's a lot going on with this one. And then that will then spin round. That then goes like so. His face is his face, so that clips on like that. He's then got this really nice cool looking helmet, which is quite a chunky looking thing. So see what he looks like from the back. It looks like there's a lot going on with that one, and then that's what he looks like from the front. And then you have the massive weapon, which is three bits long. So that goes there, that goes there, that clips into there. Now supposedly he holds that, so the weapon is near enough the width of the box. So this thing is huge, so that looks like it goes in that hand. That's not going to work, is it? I'm not going to have him walking around with that. It's not going to, you could set up some nice photos if you wanted to and look like he's been absolutely mangled. But if we twist his hands through like that, entertain yourselves for a second. Can I? Oh, it does. Alright. It was all going on, the battery died and everything, but with a bit of persuasion you can get it in both hands, and it does look very effective. So that is one of the newer ones just there. Then we have this one as the other newer one just there, and then this is the one that came with Lloyd. So you can see how you're creating this really nice army of these minifigures, which just from a photo point of view I think will look very effective. But what I want to do, I want to test to see if these glow in the dark. So as you can clearly see, they do not glow in the dark at all. So that was an epic fail. But now what I will try and do to end it on a bit more of a positive, I will see if I can find Lloyd. Right, moving on to the ninjas. There's one, there is the other. I've tried to get the Lloyd, and the only one I could find is this one, which clearly is not the right Lloyd. Now I've got a funny feeling I know where he is, and he's going to be an absolute nightmare to find and grab. So if you've been watching the disaster series and the flood that I had in this area that I'm filming this from now, you might have a little bit of sympathy for me. But for now, do not worry whatsoever. Just keep your eyes peeled for that episode. There are tears. Now these two, we'll move these out the way. In fact, we'll move the Lloyd out the way. We'll bring this one to the front so you can at least see what this one looks like. So this has the, I guess it's more like an olive, or it's, to be fair actually, it's very similar to Cole if you look at the box. So the difference is it's just the front of the legs, and then you can see at the top just on that bit just there you've got the green, and then it comes up and you've got the same shoulder pad, which means the sword and everything can go through, and we've already had a look at the villain. So Lloyd is there, that is what he looks like. Now having a look at these two again for the final time, what do you think? Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the blue with the yellow, or do you prefer the black and the orange as a colour scheme, not the actual character itself? And then that's what they look like both together from the back, so you can get some nice pictures of those two if you require. But I think the fact that they come with so many good looking minifigures, now these will be the minifigures that you would literally buy in the sets anyway, so with it being the legacy line, I would imagine that these are all either re-releases or they are very, very slightly different. So if you have got any of these figures, then obviously please let me know in the comment section below. But guys, that is it. I am done. So in the comments below, let us know if you're going to now try and hunt down this magazine or the magazines, or if you want to try and hunt down just some of these boxes, because I would imagine people will be selling all of these individually. And if you have got one that I've missed, I don't think I have missed one yet, but if you have got one that I've missed, then again, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will do what I can to see if I can hunt that one back down. But so far, I think I'm 3 for 3. Hopefully I've not missed one. If I have, then that's not really good on my end. It probably came out when I wasn't even in the country. But if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.